Everybody, happy Monday. What's going on? Look, we have 3 squares. It's not look, we could have 4. I mean, 4 would be awesome. But we got 3, so we're not complaining.
Yeah, but you really don't do 4 ever. Like,
well, every once in a while.
If Pam and Ricky can do it, like I just sit out.
True, but that's true.
It's hard. 4 is tough, man. If you got 4 people trying to talk, man, that's tough.
Oh, we've done it, but yeah, it is more Brady Bunchy.
Apparently, Pam is in DC. Government called her there. I don't know what it's about. I
mean, I'm always jealous of Pam. I'm telling you, I'm always jealous of Pam because, like, I want to go to DC so bad.
Same.
She does everything I want.
DC's awesome. Have you ever been there?
No, that's the same.
Oh, really?
I know we planned a trip together once with her, but like,
hey, and the Cardinals were in DC this weekend when she was there. Like, she could have let me know. I could have gone out and watched the ball game.
We could have had a meetup in DC, but
right. I mean, we could have brought Juan Soto back to St. Louis as new.
I could have played golf somewhere in DC. Like
absolutely, yeah. See all the museums. But Ricky's here. We're glad to have Ricky back.
Hi,
so we got news about Ricky. We'll tell you where she's been here in just a minute. So it's pretty exciting. Rumor has it. Yeah. So we are going to answer your list of questions. And
hey, Mike, you want to roll your background back so we can't see your TV, or you want
to turn off Blue Bloods here? Okay, hang on.
Are you watching Big Brother right now?
No, because I don't want to stream while I'm doing the show.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah. So for those who are not paying attention, because I haven't been here for a few weeks, I have joined Mike on the Big Brother train. Whoops. I gave him so much trouble about it for so many years, and now I got sucked in this year. So thanks a lot, Mike. He can't hear me, so that's
you're so loud you came all the way through the headphones.
Okay.
Just kidding. But no, this isn't a very good season of Big Brother, so I apologize. There's been
it's not my favorite.
Yeah, it's not a good season.
I'm enjoying it, so
but it's still enjoyable. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's okay. Yeah, it's just. I mean, usually I kind of like have a character I really like, but this year
not so much.
I don't have anybody I'm really attached to. Like if somebody gets voted out, I don't care. See you later.
Kyle and Daniel are my top 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
Monty's my guy so far, but I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Kyle is funny though.
Kyle's really funny.
I like Taylor a lot too.
I'm hot and cold on her, and I think that's what the thing is with her. Like I'm hot and cold. Like some days I'm like, oh man, they're so mean to her, and like, but then some days
some days it's so warranted that
there were so many mean things they did to her on the feeds that like they never showed.
Oh my god, really? Oops.
Oh yeah, in the first week especially. And the person that went home early just like was a bully to her like crazy.
Yeah, Paloma, she was mean and then quit.
Yeah. Paloma seemed like a bully, not gonna lie. So
I mean, Twitter. I don't even want to go down that hole, man. She was bugging me.
Yeah, she never stopped talking to you. Okay, so let's talk Big Brother. Okay, so here's we're going to rank the list of questions. So if you have questions, put them below. We got a lot in the inbox, so we're going to be bouncing over there too, and then we're going to talk a little Disney tech and give some grades for back to school here
because they get some dinner. I'm already hungry.
No, it's for real. I know. So we are all going to get you out of here for dinner, get you some shows for this week, and oh my God, do they sell laptops? I wish. That is funny because a lot of people do have a lot of money to spend in OBCs because the future cruise credits that expire when you go on your cruise. The best use of that, if you have a big, is put a deposit down on a future cruise. But you got to do it before you get on the ship for your first cruise. That's the rule. I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Unless you really like to spend on the ships, then hey,
I can spend, Mike. You've seen
like Supermarket Sweep, man. Whatever. Whatever you want to do. Okay, let's do this. This is 20.
Every time you hear the beep.
Come on down to Supermarket Sweep. I watch that on the treadmill every morning and on the buzzer channel with no sound.
I love Supermarket Sweep.
2130. Okay, here we go. Oh, by the way, Andrew was asking what I think about Hader. I'm just glad Hader is out of the National League Central and over to San Diego. So that's great for us because that dude is nails. So I'm glad he is out. Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 2130 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Oh, crap.
It is not Monday. I mean, it is, but.
I'll try it again. I was trying to
hit it's Ricky, Mike.
It is.
I know. It's me. It's always me.
I don't see my settings button. Hang on. I'm trying to fix the volume. Let's see my settings. Where my computer rebooted and now I don't see my settings. My settings wheel.
So did mine.
There it is. Oh wait, all I need to do is click this. What am I doing? Phone settings. I was not at 53. I got to be at 53 to start, and then it moves. Okay, there. Okay, now we're good. Let's try this again. Here we go. 2130. Welcome to episode 2130 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week and staying cool because guess what? The heat is back here in most parts of the country. So chill out, sit in the pool, listen to our show, but make sure you don't get that iPhone or Android device wet. Keep it safe, but take us along with you, whatever you're doing this week. We're getting ready to inform you with some Disney answers to your listener questions, and at least, try and give you some fun Disney talk. So today, I know that you've been hanging out with Mike and Scott for the last 2 weeks. It's just been us for a while. You have one of your familiar friends back, and we are so glad to have her joining us today. She is, I still think, I'm not sure, but I think she is from the mouseforless.com. I don't know, but she's back. We have Ricky. Ricky, welcome back to the show.
Yay! I am. It's so good to be back. I missed you guys. So, it's just, I'm home. So yeah, it's good to be back.
We're glad to have you back. I mean, because definitely this is your home. You've been with us here, as the show's gone on for almost 15 years now, as the show's been here. And, people have been asking where you've been, and I know you can't say anything, and, you have been in a way under the weather, as I've been saying, but I'm just saying reality TV might have been calling for the fall, and you just had to go away under some weather for a short time period. So,
I mean, Mike, there is the new Love Boat coming out, right? So, I mean, the way you talk about it, maybe that's where I was. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Does Brian know about this?
That's exactly what I was thinking, because you are married, so it'll be very bizarre. But I don't know.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know that's what the Love Boat was about.
Do you ever watch the Love Boat with Gopher and Doc? Especially Doc. Stay away from
Doc. Man is like, yeah.
I actually don't. So I don't know what the new Love Boat is going to be about either. So I don't know. I was just taking a shot in the dark.
Well, new shows are typically the old show, but more extreme. And I can't.
Well, it's a reality version, or it's a. Yeah, isn't it? It's like
a dating show, I'm sure. It's probably like Love Island on a boat, I'm guessing.
I'm sure that's probably what it is.
Because everybody in the world sent me, hey, you need to apply. I'm like, dude, I love the Love Boat, but I mean, I'm not going to go there and see Charo.
Probably,
it's not, coochie coochie. It's not that
probably
kind of
smart idea.
Yeah. So glad to have you back, and also joining us, we have our buddy #ScottyG up in the mitten. Scott, what's going on? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Mike. If there's a doctor on this ship, Brian better watch out, because I'm sure he's gonna swoop up and take Ricky off her feet. No doubt about it. But happy Wednesday. Happy to be back, Mike. Thanks for the invite. I say it every week when I'm on this show for Wednesday. This is one of my favorite episodes to record, because you never know what you're gonna get. The topics are all over the place. I love answering listener questions.
All right, let's hop in, because we got a bunch today. Jennifer Grant sent this one in. She says, "Hey, Mike, I was just listening to the listener call-in show from July 24th, and Scott mentioned how he got off their cruise quick in the morning to get to Epcot. I was just curious how early he was actually able to walk off. We plan on walking off with our own luggage. We have a transfer picking us up to take us to Walt Disney World, and I'd like to get off as early as I can, but I need to let the car company know what time to expect us. Just curious how early he was able to get off the ship." So, Scott, let's use some technology. You got a timestamp for us? When'd you get off?
Actually, I believe I do have a timestamp for that. So, because you kind of fed me this question a little early, which was cheating. We normally don't do that, but
we're waiting for Ricky.
But we're waiting for Ricky forever. Yeah. So I do have a timestamp. So I took a picture in the parking garage when we got to the cruise ship, and I sent it to Mike. And then I did like a side-by-side compare of like me giving like the sad face, being back in the same spot in the parking garage. And that was at 7:57 in the morning. So I'd say roughly 8 o'clock. So I was already off the ship. I was through customs, and I was back in the parking garage by 8 o'clock. So I would say 8 o'clock would be a good time to shoot for, because you still have to walk, and find the rental car and all that. So I think 8 o'clock would be a good time. I would just say, like you were suggesting, I kept the luggage in the room, which I normally don't do, but I knew we wanted to beat it to get to Epcot first thing in the morning. So basically we skipped breakfast, we kept the luggage in the room, and we just kept, listening until the ship was cleared, and we just walked off the ship with no problem.
Like I told you, breaking my heart skipping breakfast, man.
It's tough. I like to spend maximum time on the ship, but I had a Guardians Fast Pass that was already waiting for me because we got it. Well, I mean, we didn't get it. Our friend got it for us while we were on the ship, so we had to book it to get to Epcot. But yeah, I mean, it broke my heart skipping breakfast, Mike. But sometimes you gotta make that sacrifice.
Saying we don't miss meals. I mean, Scott and I, we don't miss meals. All right, Anthony's in the live chat with us on Facebook. We appreciate him being here. He says, random question: any chance they sell laptops at one of the shops on Disney Cruise Line? He says, I have lots of chase points. I love you guys. I don't think they sell laptops on the ships that I know of. I've never seen them. They do have some luxury items in some of the ships.
Yes.
But they do not. Now, he says he has chase points. Now, this question is actually coming up, though. Jokingly, he asked this, but some guests are having larger onboard credits right now because of these future cruise credits because of canceled cruises over the past couple of years. And what happens is that if you have these future cruise credits that you don't apply to something outside of this original cruise that you're going on, when you board that ship, the future cruise credit will turn into an onboard credit, which if you're not careful, some guests can end up with like an onboard credit of like $1,500, $2,000 for a 4, 3, 5 night cruise, which is pretty large. Mm-hmm. Now you could spend it, you could supermarket sweep it. There's plenty of ways to do that. Lots of classes, mixology classes, spa appointments. You can do a lot of ways to spend that. But a thing to think about is what you can do with a large future cruise credit that would turn into an onboard credit. If you're in that situation where you had a canceled cruise, is that you can use those funds towards a deposit for a future cruise before you get on the cruise you're going on originally. But you got to do that before you get on the ship. So just something to think about. But
Mike, can you put more so when you're on the ship, like I always do like the placeholder, right? Which is like at that point, I think it's like a $250 or something, right? Could you put more on that then? Or could you actually do the 20% deposit? I'm not trying to put you on the spot here.
I don't know. The future, you probably could, but I don't know for sure. I'd have to ask. I'm not sure, because the thing is, with these future cruise credits, it was something that was never in the books until COVID, right? The system didn't even have a way to document this stuff. That was where we were struggling, and the cast members of Disney Cruise Line were struggling with accounting a lot of times because, we were trying to keep track of all these, funds, because it'd be 25% of what somebody paid. But there was no way to have a system that took 0.25 of the total, because it was never because the software wasn't written for that at Disney Cruise Line. There was never an exception for that. What if the cruise line closes down for 6 months and the ships don't sail, and then we rebook and have this 0.25 bonus kind of thing. So it's been a mess. And good news is that is all going away here at the end of September. We're kind of back, knock on wood, back to normal days. We're getting close. All right, Lori's got a question that is time sensitive. So focus. Here we go. She's in our live chat. Planning an early character dinner before the Halloween party. Which would you prefer for location? Characters and food for 3 adults before the Halloween party. Cinderella's Castle, Be Our Guest, or Storybook. She books tomorrow as we're recording, so she'll book on Tuesday. So, Ricky, what would you do? Would you do Cinderella's Royal Table, Be Our Guest, or I guess over at Artist Point, Storybook Dining? What would you do before the Halloween party? 3 adults.
Yeah, and I guess it would be helpful to know what time they were thinking. But I would probably lean towards one of the in-park restaurants. So I'll either say Cinderella Royal Table or Be Our Guest. And, I would go with whichever one. Probably Be Our Guest, but you know what? I think either one is going to be fine. Cinderella's Royal Table, both are prefix meals. All 3 of them are. So, whichever one is available is the one that I'm going to say, because both are hard to get. So if there's one that's available, I would go with that one. So
we followed up. She was going between 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
So in the past, like I've gone to like, now this was one of our options, but we've had a nice meal like at Kona before one of the hard ticket events. Actually, it was a Halloween party because everybody in the restaurant, well, not everybody, but a lot of people in the restaurant had on their costumes.
Right.
And I remember this was before the party too. This might have been 10 years ago, but I remember it because there was a drunk guy in there dressed up like Jack Sparrow, and he got up on the table and started.
Yes, I remember him
Screaming Jack Sparrow lines, like to the entire and he was yelling all the Jack Sparrow lines, like security had to take him out. And this was before the party. This was like at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. We were doing a podcast event that night, but we were having dinner at Kona. Scott, were you there?
I was not there. No,
he was not there. No.
Or maybe I was Jack Sparrow and you just don't know it.
Hey, could have been.
It was great. I'm like, I could see this like at Epcot at 11 o'clock at night, but this is Kona like at 4:30. Like this is when it's supposed to be chill. Dude was up on the tables, like, and he looked just like Jack Sparrow.
He did, and he really was up on the tables. Like it's no joke. He was like standing up, like for sure on the chair. Yeah.
He didn't make it to the party. His hard ticket.
I'm sure he did not. No.
No, he was in Disney jail. But so I don't. Do you have any opinion, Scott, on that? I mean, what would you pick out of those 3 options?
I would actually go to Wilderness Lodge and go to the storybook dining because, like, kind of what you were saying, Mike. You're going to be in that park for a long time, like for the party. So I think it's fun to like be in. I don't know if they're wearing costumes or not, but I like to be in costume like outside of the park because, like, I'm an attention hog. You get a lot of people looking at your costumes and all that, and I don't know, it's kind of fun. And then you can take the boat over in your costume, and like I don't know. I think it just sets up for a good night to have your meal outside the Magic Kingdom, but that I have no real reason why, but I just kind of like that thought process, so that's why I would go with the meal at Artist Point, or not Artist Point, at Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah, I'd do the same. I just like to be outside and then boom, bounce into the park for the party, so I would go that way too. And actually Dennis is following up on the Future Cruise credit question because he was just on the ship. He said the Future Credit is only a $250 charge through the app, so you cannot.
Can I do a follow-up cruise line question too, Mike, from a question we had a couple of weeks ago? So there's a question about
because we have an answer that we needed.
So someone asked about because the Wish right now you can't do the full running track on deck 4, which is a shame. So there was a question about, well, I have a son that's in the athletes that likes to stay fit on vacation. Can they come into the fitness center even though they're under 18? So our friend of the show was just on the live show the other night, Jody. She was on a recent cruise. It wasn't the Wish, but she was in the fitness center and saw, as long as you had like a guardian, like a parent was with a minor under 18, they were able to do it just fine. Can't promise that would happen on every ship or every destination, but I know it can happen. So, and that's kind of where we landed too, Mike. We would think that as long as there was a guardian in the fitness center with like a 16 or 17-year-old, especially, that wouldn't be a problem. And that's what we found out.
I'm glad to hear that because that makes sense, right? I mean, it just makes it's fair. It just makes common sense that, these athletes, these kids that are training for sports should be able to go somewhere to get in their miles and their training, and it's going to work. All right. Katie's got a question here. She says, wasn't able to snag a reservation to Trader Sam's for our trip to Disneyland at the end of August. Any tips on getting a table for lunch or dinner for a family of 4? Thanks. First Disneyland trip and so excited. And I'm so jealous because I love Disneyland. It is the jam, and I'm taking my little nephew out there because they're in the middle of moving right now, but he is into cars right now. And
nice.
I've talked to them. We're making this happen. We're going out there with them. We're actually we're probably going to have them on the podcast cruise too, because they sail with us on the 3rd podcast cruise.
Yeah, I remember we were with them at. We did. We had drinks with them at Meridian. I remember, and we had a blast.
Yeah, Sandy, awesome. Still Sandy and Andy, but now we have Austin.
Oh, yay!
So they're probably coming on the podcast cruise. We're also going to take them out to Cars Land.
Nice.
But okay, back to this isn't all about me, even though I guess it was there for about 30 seconds. Back to Trader Sam's. Now, Scott, I know you had a good day at Trader Sam's there. I don't know but you had an ADR prior too, but I saw a lot of people getting in because we stayed at the Disneyland Hotel. I mean, as long as you lined up, it seemed like a lot of people got in day up.
It's tough though. So I think they're getting in, Mike, for the outside dining. So because Trader Sam's at Disneyland has the bar. And then I'm thinking there might be like 6 regular tables and like 2 high tops. They don't have very much seating at all. And I really want to say that they leave that for the reservations. But they do offer the outdoor seating, right, at Trader Sam's. So that's what the walk-ups are for, which is still a great experience. I mean, it's not as like crazy as it is inside as it is outside, but it's a gorgeous setting. You're sitting up up high. You're looking down on the resort. If you're there at night, there's usually like a ukulele player like playing like music, which is awesome. I've seen some cats of Disney actually, like the cats of Disneyland.
The whole time I never saw a cat.
Yeah,
no
that's usually where I've seen them, Mike, is actually like in that area by Trader Sam's at the Disneyland Hotel. So I would say, yeah, go up to the podium at the time that you want to look, and they'll put you on a list. But I will just preface by saying this usually for the outdoor seating, but maybe you might get lucky and be able to get indoors, but definitely do it. It's worth it.
The funniest thing that I thought was that I didn't know that they put like a time limit on you and you had to have like a drink minimum. So
I had 90 minutes. So like I'm in there having a good time. Like I'm on my second mug for the day because I love collecting the tiki mugs. And then the lady's kind of like, well, you got like 10 minutes left. Do you want another one?
That's
always a great time. I love Trader Sam's. It's one of my favorite places in the world.
So have fun, Katie, and let us know what you think, man. I loved it. So let's go with that. All right. Julie's got a question. She says, hey, Mike, with the cost of park tickets, the extra stress and expense of Genie Plus, and Scott's excitement in talking about his last minute cruise and cruising in general, I made a last minute change in plans. Thank you for helping me book. Thank you, Julie. And we leave in a week for our first cruise ever.
Yay!
So, Scott, I'm telling you what, man, you got to be careful what you say on the show because it makes things happen. I mean,
it does.
It's like for Disney, but for our guests, Julie, I've been working with her just today as we're recording about her cruise. She's going on a week from today as we record.
Nice.
That is awesome.
So she's cruising on the Wish. I'm super jealous.
On the Wish too?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude,
that's awesome.
She's not playing, dude. Our
not playing around.
Play. Our listeners don't play. They go big or go home. Okay, she continues. My 3 children, ages 10 to 14, and I can't wait to experience the Wish. But I have a few questions we're hoping you, Pam, Ricky, or Scott could help answer. Number 1, what time should we arrive to plan at the port? Hopefully have passed all COVID testing prior to arrival and be coming from Old Key West. Don't worry, Olivia's is in the plan for the previous day as we aren't going to any of the parks. Okay, so she's asking about that. Now, I believe Julie's a first-time cruiser, so she's doing it right, too.
Yeah.
So port arrival time. So Scott, you've been the most recently on the ships. So give her what your process was.
So the port arrival time, and since I booked it kind of last minute, I got a later time. So normally like I would at the 90 days or whatever the cutoff is, I'm like right there at midnight trying to get an early port arrival time so I can maximize my time on the ship. I mean, even if it's just a couple hours, it's not like it's a huge difference. But I will say they are very strict to those port arrival times. So I tried to be kind of sneaky. I played dumb. I showed up a little bit early because I thought, but this is like legit because I was like, well, I have to park. I had to do my COVID test and all that. So it's going to take about an hour to do all that. So I showed up an hour early. They were not happy. They're like, your port arrival time says 1:40 and it's 12:40. You're not supposed to be here. So I would just say they're very strict right now due to the port arrival time, just because of COVID and everything. They want to limit how many people are in like the entryway getting onto the ship. So definitely abide to the port arrival when you do your online check-in.
And buttermilk chicken the night before, just saying.
Yes.
Okay, and number 2, are lanyards necessary? Now, just so you know, they will give lanyards to folks that are Castaway Club members. I can't remember, though, if they give lanyards to first-time cruisers, because I know that they do for, like, silver, gold, and platinum.
I think they leave a silver in your room for a first-time cruise. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I don't remember.
They give it to you on your second cruise, though.
I think they give it to you on your second one, too.
Because you're not a member yet. So, but they're not necessary. I mean, you get your key to the world card, you can put it in your pocket. But I mean, if you want to bring a lanyard, just get a fun one at Disney, or you just bring one from home, and because people do wear them.
And I don't know if she's DVC because I hear about like staying at Old Key West. I'm not sure if they're a Disney Vacation Club or not, but there's awesome Disney Vacation Club giveaways on the ship. So if you are DVC, one of them that they give away like on the first night is a lanyard. So that's always a thing too. Or even if you go talk to them, because they're really cool. They want to talk to you about DVC. They're not even going to give you the sales pitch. But if you just say, oh, hey, like, can I get one of those lanyards? 9 out of 10 times they're going to give you one. So.
Yeah, people are saying you get them on your second cruise because it corresponds to the color of your level. So if you're silver, which would be your second to your 6th cruise,
that makes sense.
Then you get the silver looking one, and then you get a black one, I think, for gold.
No, it's gold.
You get a gold one for gold, then you get a black one for platinum. And stuff like that. Okay, number 3, we've watched some Castaway Key videos and are wondering what are the must-dos besides cookies, of course. That is a must-do. Do we all need our own snorkel equipment? What about the inner tubes or floating mats? Well, I don't think you're actually allowed to bring your own snorkeling equipment, so scrap that. Just rent it. because they have to have like it's all consistent. Like it's got to be the right color. Maybe you can bring your own.
I think you can bring your own. I think Pam and Steve usually bring their own, but that might have changed though.
I don't know. Maybe you can't bring it and they'll just tell you not to. I know that you do have to like follow rules. Like if you're in the area, like you have to have like your vest on. They will tell you. I mean, I've heard the lifeguards yelling at people to make sure that like your mask is on if you're in the like snorkeling area. But I will say, now I'm not a snorkeler because I still my lizard brain can't understand that even with a pipe in my mouth, I can breathe when I'm underwater. I can't.
Oh, you would have freaked out when I went scuba diving then. Yeah.
Oh no, they try. Okay, so when I was at space camp, I was an instructor there, right? And so the last camp of the year, because I went there for 1 year, and then the next 2 years I was an instructor. In the last camp of each year, in 2002 and 2003, it's international space camp. So they pull out all the stops for these teachers because they're from like everywhere around the world. They're from like Turkey and the Philippines and, everywhere, Spain and, all the 50 states. So they get to do all the cool stuff. So all these teachers got to go into the neutral buoyancy tanks. They got to go down in the scuba tank and go down like 40 feet and build this thing. Because I mean, the other teachers, they got to do this cool thing, but it was like on land. No, these teachers got to do the scuba tank that took like 4 hours. So I was like, I kept dropping hints. I'm like, okay, man, can I go? Can I go? And they finally like let me go. And they told us, we had to go through this like 90-minute class, told us all the ways this can kill us. And they're like, if you have asthma, your lungs are going to explode. Well, I do have asthma, but I lied and I said I didn't. It's kind of like when in the old days on the cruise, like, have you been sick in the last 72 hours? No. Whatever. Okay, so back kind of that thing. So I'm thinking like, okay, so they're putting all that stuff on me, dude. I'm in the wetsuit. I'm in like 90 pounds of like tanks and tubes are going in my mouth, and I'm starting to like freak out. Like I'm like, I shouldn't have lied. This is gonna kill me. Like karma's gonna get me at the bottom. And they're like, so then they're like, whatever you do, if you panic, don't just jump up to the top of the tank. You'll get the bends. And so they're like, you know what the bends are?
No idea.
Like, okay, so it's like this thing where if you shoot from like if you're down under the water, like super low, because this tank went down like 45 feet and like the kids could watch you because there's like little portholes in it, like in the cafeteria at space camp.
Oh no.
Way up to the ceilings where you got in because it's like 40 feet tall.
Yep.
And so, but if you would freak out and you would shoot yourself up to the top, you're like your blood vessels will start like exploding, and they're like, it is the most painful thing. And this is what astronauts truly get too, because when you go up, you got to go up like 5 feet, stop, let your blood vessels kind of like relax, go up another 5 feet, stop. They're like, if you freak out and you just shoot up to the top, they're like, you are going to be crippled. Like you are going to be you're going to be in the most pain you've ever been in your life. We're probably going to have to take you to the hospital. You're probably going to pop a lung. At that point, dude, this poor lady had put me in all the gear. And
you're like, nope, I'm done.
I was like, you know what? I'm not going down. I was like, I'm just gonna take pictures.
What a lesson this is.
It was because I freaked out. I was like, I could not do it because I'm like, I know I'm gonna get down there and I'm gonna start thinking. I'm just like, whew, and they're gonna have to like get me in a helicopter like back to some hospital, and I'm 8 hours from my house in Huntsville. So anyway,
well, I can assure this is not how it is on Castaway Key.
No,
it's actually really magical.
Because that's not snorkel. That's scuba diving. That's snorkeling.
The last 3 minutes back about Mike. It shouldn't be.
Yeah, I know, right? Right, exactly.
Julie, I apologize, but what are her? Okay, so Ricky, what are your must-dos on Castaway Key, and also about the floaties and the inner tubes and so, anything though not to miss?
Yeah, I mean you can rent those. Disney has those available for rent. I honestly just like relaxing on Castaway Key. I mean, who doesn't love to sit in a beach chair and just kind of hang out and relax? So that's kind of what I like to do. But I mean, there's a ton of things that you can do. They have, you can do bike riding. You can do all the excursion things that they have. So you can do things like parasailing. Obviously, you have to sign up for that ahead of time.
I've done that. It's pretty fun. Now, that was pretty fun. It was a little scary, but it was pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's the slides that they have for the kids and the kids at heart. And there's just the shopping. You can go in the shops and do that. Of course, you can be crazy and run like we've done. So there's just a ton of things to do on the island. But for me, it's my paradise. So I'm all in for, a good book, sitting in a beach chair and just hanging out and relaxing. That's that. And then, going, getting in the water for a little bit, just cooling off a little bit, then coming back to my chair and hanging out. So that's usually what I end up doing.
But it seems like it takes cookies forever to open up. Like I'm always looking at the watch on the island. I'm like, is it 11 o'clock yet? Like it's only like 10? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, I need to eat. Like I haven't eaten like in 2 hours.
Because you've been out there in the water and you're hungry when you get out there. Yeah.
Please. Okay, Scott, you were just there though. Now, once you survived the water spout / tornado that went through when you were there, which very unlikely is going to happen to you, Julie. I'm just saying, but you are kind of following in Scott's footpath, footsteps here. Right. So I'm just saying, be careful. But I mean, what did you like at the island? Because you were there recently.
So this is kind of like an obvious answer, but I'm just going to throw it out there anyway. And that's like, if you have a camera or bring your phone, like make sure you're bringing that, because I just love photographing the island. Like there are so many like cool angles of the ship that you can only get like on that island. Like I love that photo that you can take like right when you get off the ship with the ship behind you.
I call it the butt. Like, the ship's butt.
Yeah. And then like you can, like wherever you're at on the island, unless if you're like really deep into the jungle where you do the 5K, you can usually see the ship. And I just think I like getting different perspectives of the ship behind like the trees or these signs or whatever. So that's one of my favorite things like to do. And now that I've gone a lot, but I mean, that might not be a first time thing, but I just love taking photos. But I'm also a big fan of in the shade. So you can get like really hot and toasty on the island if you haven't found like a tree to sit in. Like Ricky's probably got her nice beach chair under a tree reading a book, or maybe she's on a hammock. But if you want to take a break from the beach, I love going to In the Shade where they have like basketball games, like air hockey, ping pong, and all that. And it is actually like really comfortable and shady, and it's really nice. You kind of forget like it's 110 degrees outside on the island, so that's a cool place to hang out.
Absolutely. And Vero Mike's here in the live chat. He says snorkeling at Keswick was the best part of his cruise. Like I said, my younger daughter, Mallory, she loves snorkeling with Pam Forrester. Always with Pam Forrester, though. Pam is a big snorkeler. So they love doing that together. And Jennifer says,
you see some cool things down there, too. They have some hidden like things that you can find with the snorkeling. I won't give it away, but it's so cool.
Disney relics are there. So you want to check that out. And Jennifer from right down the road here in St. Louis says she loves pulling up those little short beach chairs and just putting them right there on the edge of the water and letting the water kind of.
That's the best. She also pointed out too, like I didn't realize this. There must be a change that the port arrival time is 30 days now for everyone. I did not realize that. So that's good information to know. It's like everyone's on the same page when it comes to getting those port arrival times.
All right, last thing for Julie. What are some items you would suggest that we bring for a first-time cruiser wouldn't think about that I might want to add to my Amazon Prime order? So here's the thing about the cruise. You don't really need to really bring much onto the ship. Like it's going to have everything you need. Most everything's included. But I'm trying to think of like stuff you might want to bring as far as like electronic, like stuff to make your stateroom better. Is there anything you bring though with you that I mean, like a door decoration? I mean, kind of the things that if you've never sailed, like you're like, oh, everybody else is doing this. I wish I would have known about that. Like people decorate their doors with magnets. I mean, but that's not a big deal.
I got a weird thing that I always bring. And it's because of how the electricity works in the room. So you could put so there's like a slider where you have to put like your key to the world card in to get the power to the room. And it's nice to not always have it in there because you're conserving power, but sometimes I'm pretty bad about that because I like the room to just stay cold all the time. So I usually bring, so I don't forget it. I always bring like an arcade card from like an arcade at Walt Disney World Resort. And I just put that card in first thing when I get into the room, and I just leave it in there the whole time. Now, sometimes your stateroom host might lift it up a little bit.
We always do
to conserve your power. But I know it's a weird thing, but I keep one in my wallet at all times just in case if I randomly end up on a cruise ship, I got an extra card. And it's not a necessity, but it's just something I like to have because if I leave I don't want to put a credit card in there and then forget about it. So I like to put an arcade card.
Yeah, and that's actually a really smart thing because not a lot of people who haven't cruised on Disney Cruise Line don't know about that. And it's not a feature on the Magic and the Wonder. It started with the Dream and the Fantasy. So and obviously I've heard it's on the Wish as well. So that's definitely something to keep in mind because that's not something that you'd think of. I have a few things that I bring. I bring like a paintbrush so I can brush the sand off my feet. I feel like that's
one of those one time in a fish extender.
That would be for me. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, ding. I bring like pirate costumes, for pirate night because that's something that's different. Not a lot of cruise ships have. But I'm like you, Mike, like whatever, the ship has pretty much everything that you need. One thing you might want to consider is the little clippies for your beach chair or for the towel. That would be pretty helpful actually, because whether you're up on deck or you're at Castaway Key or whatever, when the wind whips and your towel just goes everywhere. So I would definitely consider bringing little clippies for the back of your chair too.
All right. Now, Vero Mike says good sunblock is a must. Lip balm with a high SPF, because you will get it if you're hanging out in the water, even on a cloudy. Yeah, actually, I think you get it worse on a cloudy day. So be careful with that. Obviously, that's pretty smart there, Vero Mike.
I like to always bring an appetite too, Mike.
Oh, dude.
There you go.
God, you don't have to worry about that. And then Kathy says she brings a collapsible hanging closet organizer. Gives you more storage space for clothes, t-shirts, such like that. So. Good idea, but I will say that the staterooms are becoming a lot more, they've really become easy to put your stuff away and organize things. They've come a long way, and they've taken they've taken a lot of that over to Walt Disney World, which is very nice. And then Julie wraps it up. Thank you for all your help and for the cheery vibe you always have on the show. We love listening. So Julie, have a great cruise next week.
That's awesome. Okay. I love that whole story about the kind of the last minute cruise, man. That's how you live in life right there. I love it.
That is, I'm so jealous of that. Okay, so this email came in last week, and I got to give this one because this is interesting. So Eric has an email. Hey, Mike, I'm a veteran Walt Disney World guy, annual pass holder, DVC member, and also a runner. I've done a number of the Run Disney events, and I've been concocting a new challenge. Let me know what you think. So I had to share this not only because I was going to share it with Scott, because he's my buddy that I run all the races with, but I want to share this with the audience as a whole, especially our lizards. So here we go. I've created a new running/park challenge to thwart all previous ones. The goal is to run at least 1 mile at each Walt Disney World resort with a total of 26.2 miles and visit all 4 theme parks with a ride and a snack, all in one day.
Ooh.
Okay, here we go. So that means I'm running at Animal Kingdom Lodge at Coronado Springs and Saratoga Springs, Polynesian, Fort Wilderness, etc., along with hitting all 4 parks. I've got all the steps mapped out to take advantage of early hours and extended hours for the particular day I'm going. He's going on September 7th, and he's staying at Saratoga. He's calling it Rabbit's No Time to Say Hello Challenge. I'm getting a shirt made up and everything, he says. So if you see him,
what is he doing? Because I know there's more to this, but can I do this with him? Like, this sounds so awesome.
Yeah, well, I have a crew. I mean, this is exhausting.
This is gonna be like Forrest Gump, man. By the time he gets to Epcot, he's got a crew ready with him.
And I have a crew and I'll have a beard. Yeah, exactly. And his shoes will be all wore out. Okay, so he says, my biggest obstacle is that I could save a bunch of time if I could just drive my rental to some of the resorts and park there to do my runs. But I won't have a reservation or an ADR. What's the best way to convince the parking lot attendant to let me park at some of those resorts for literally just 10 minutes? I want to avoid the whole taking a bus from park to a resort over and over because that wastes so much time. Thanks, Mike, and I love your podcast, Eric. So I really don't know if we have an answer, because you would really be, honestly, the only thing is you're throwing yourself at the mercy of the guy or gal. I mean, and they're probably not going to let you. But I mean, if you have a shirt and you smell of sweat, I mean, you have 2 layers of legitimacy right there. I mean, and it's almost like desperation. It's like throwing yourself at the mercy of the court. But I love this idea. I just had to put this out there because you need to have a hashtag. You need to have like live something going on September 7th. We have to follow, because Scott's right. I mean, there could be a crew at the end of this thing. By the end of the time,
there better be a crew at the end of this thing. We know there's always going to be some lizards at Walt Disney World at any given time. So I hope some that are listening to this join Eric in this adventure, because it sounds so awesome.
It's crazy.
And maybe that's what you need. You need like a friend staying at each resort and be like, oh yeah, he's with me. He can park. I mean, that's not how it works either. But yeah, like, it's going to be tough to get into some of those resorts, especially like the Contemporary or
I mean, even Wilderness Lodge is going to be difficult. Yeah. Oh, and the Epcot resorts and Pop Century. I mean, you're an Art of Animation. Yeah. They will not let you in there anymore. So.
Yeah, that's a challenge. And Steven says to mobile order something there, but I don't even think that gets you in, because
I don't think it's guaranteed. Yeah.
The security guards are onto the game that people want to park there to either walk to a theme park or to get on a Skyliner, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, They know the game. Not, again, sometimes you'll just get a really cool cast member that would see that you, if you explain the situation, but then again, you're also going to waste time if you go all the way over
and they don't let you.
You get turned around, you know. So, but I love this idea. But I mean, this is exhausting on top of exhausting because you have 26 miles of running and you're breaking it into 1 mile, approximately chunks, or like, 2 mile chunks, plus going into theme parks, riding attractions, having snacks, and then all the logistical, like, things to think about on top. I mean, I love it. And I think it could be done, but I think this would be harder way harder than a full marathon.
I don't know if he gives you his map, like, cause I'm curious where he's going to end. So I'm going to ask you, Mike, where would you say, like, you've done it all, you're down to one resort. You have to do 1.2 miles at one resort to finish 26.2. What is the resort where you want to cross that finish line at?
That's true. That's a good question. So follow up with this, Eric. And would being a DVC member have any impact on that? Because sometimes DVC members are allowed
because you can pool hop. You can pool hop DVC pools. There's like a couple, like Stormalong Bay, and I can't remember the other. Even the Contemporary is one that you can pool hop as a DVC member. So believe it or not, you can actually go to part to the Contemporary and say I'm pool hopping. I never actually tried that, so I don't know 100% how that works. But that's a great idea, though.
To use like your DVC card, because you have that digital card now on your app, and you can say, you know what? I mean, that's like another. You're just trying to find like an angle in, right? I mean, just something, and that's kind of what Jeff said here. A lot of times if you tell them you're shopping, they'll let you in, but he says he's a member, so I'm guessing he's a DVC member. So I think that just gives you just a slight better odds there, seeing your DVC member
for sure.
Yeah, Uber's possibly though, but I mean, then again,
it's expensive after a while.
So yeah, it's gonna turn into like you're paying for dopey again. So and then
maybe we can just do a GoFundMe for like the Ubers for that day because I'd sponsor it.
I'd throw out a few bucks. I could just see this get done totally. Yeah. I'd pay for one of your Uber rides. I mean, we'd have enough people to pay for Uber rides to get around for the day for sure. Right. So it'd be fun. Okay, last question of the day. It is from Jenna. Hey, Mike, Pam, Ricky, and Scott. I have a question for you. Recently on a listener question show, a listener asked whether to do a 5-day Disney fantasy trip with 2 stops at Castaway Cay or a 5-night to the Wish. To my surprise, Scott and Mike both said the fantasy. You said if it was her first time, longer was better. And since she's never done one before, she doesn't need the brand new ship. Here's my question. We're signed up for the BOGP podcast cruise next summer.
Yes.
By the way, 5 more guests, 5 more families have joined us just this week for the podcast cruise. Awesome. This thing is insane. It's going to be crazy. We're going to have so much fun. Anyway, she says, but it will be our first ever Disney cruise. I'm nervous about it being in July as my family hates heat, and we're hoping to do a few days in Disney World after. Being first-time cruisers, should we switch to a cheaper cruise in a cooler time frame? Thanks for all you do. I love the podcast. When I put it in my ear, it's like having friends with me. Thanks, Jen. Jen, that is the greatest compliment you could give our show because and we had a caller talk to Scott and I about this on Sunday night. And he said, there's so many Disney podcasts and a lot of them are always talking about, here's how you get the most out of Genie Plus, and here are the rules for this and that. And he said that he enjoys our show because it is kind of just friends talking about Disney and sharing personal stories. And that is kind of what we do. Never really thought about it that way, but I appreciate that, because, we do kind of know, we know our stuff. But we're not trying to be that we are the end all be all. There are people that know the statistics better than us probably, and that get into the weeds a little bit deeper than we do, but we have a passion. And
that also helps when you have like the live chat going too, not to go down this rabbit hole, but like how Jennifer was able to say, oh, actually like with the port arrival times, everyone can do it. So that boom, we can quick correct something on the spot, which is nice too.
Yeah. It's like because
we have the best listeners.
Absolutely. It's our external brain right there in the chat room for us. It makes us look a lot smarter. Now, here's the thing, Jenna, I want you sailing with us because I want your family sailing with us. So here's the deal. On the cruise, it's fine because you're never hot on the cruise. We always sail in the summer. Every podcast cruise has been in the summer. Every cruise I've ever taken on Disney Cruise Line has always been in the summer because my wife's a teacher and I was a teacher. You're totally good. Now, will it be hot at Walt Disney World after? Yeah. But I mean, that is also an opportunity. What we typically do, and I mean, we've all done this, is that we'll stay sometimes at a hotel that has, a nice pool, and it's kind of like we extend the cruise out to the Walt Disney World. We'll go into the parks early. We'll have a lot of pool time and we'll go to the parks late to see the fireworks. And that's kind of how we do it. But I mean, on the cruise, the heat is not a problem at all. And I'm telling you what, on the Disney Wish, with all these families coming together. We're all, huge Disney fans. We're going to have a lot of events planned. We're going to do a podcast recording on the ship. Stay with us. It's going to be, I'm telling you what, it's going to be incredible. Don't pick another one. I mean, Ricky, you've done them. You're not hot on the cruises. I mean,
you're in swimsuits almost the whole entire time.
You are hot at one. You are hot at one point, but it doesn't matter if it's January. It's when you're on that deck barefoot, man. It is
true.
Your feet burn off.
Totally.
That's going to happen in January too.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, you basically live in a swimsuit on the entire cruise. So, I mean, yeah, you're not going to be hot on the ship. It's going to be just fine. But it will be a little toasty out, at Disney afterwards. So.
Yeah, but I mean, AC on the ship. I mean, obviously, most of the time you're in the pool deck, you're totally good. Like, trust me, I've never even thought about being hot on.
No.
We always, we've sailed in July and we've had on like Santa hats because one year we did Christmas in July.
That was so stupid.
But I mean, you're cruising like there's a big breeze.
It's true.
Everybody's having, it's good. So Jenna, we'll see. Please hang with us. It's gonna be awesome. And then throw in one bonus question. Kevin just asked, is there a trick to getting into annual pass previews? He says he's a Canadian pass holder, but never received any emails with regards to anything pass holder related.
Ooh.
I would just make sure your email's updated. That sounds like Scott. I mean, you get into a lot of the AP previews. I never do them, but do you have any tricks for Kevin?
Just make sure. But sometimes they're bad about announcing it. Like when they did the Guardian ones, they didn't even sometimes they'll give you a warning, like, hey, in a week from now, sign up for this at 9:00. Or sometimes they'll be like, hey, guess what? We just started
Surprise!
This. It's live now. And then you're just too late to it. So
exactly.
So following on social media helps a lot too. But like now everyone's going to be on Twitter at work. We got jobs we have to do. But yeah, just making sure your email is up to date and make sure like it's not going to spam or anything like junk. Because sometimes it does. For my Google account, like I have my inbox, I have my junk folder, or like my promotions or whatever. A lot of times they go in the promotion folder, which I'm just missing. So make sure you're checking all the inboxes.
I would contact the VIP pass holder. They have like a support service there, and they would be able to help you, get figured out a little bit. I get the emails, but I don't ever get mail. Which is kind of weird. Like mail never comes in my name. It comes in Brian's, but it never comes in mine. So, and I've tried to get that fixed for a while and I haven't been able to figure it out. But the VIP pass holder website will definitely be able to assist you in like figuring out, maybe you accidentally clicked something one time and it took you off the list. So that'll help you.
This email is so random because like for a year it'll go, everything will come to Paige, and then for a year it'll come to Mallory, and then for a year it'll come to Pam. Like
I used to get Mallory email because speaking of like podcast crews and doing something afterwards, like the year we did the two bedroom, like I signed everyone up, so I put like my address for everyone, like Mallory at my address. So I started getting like our Disney File magazine, our DVC magazine would come to our house addressed to Mallory.
I don't know how they do it. It's like totally just randomness. I know, totally. I mean, like, and I would never get it in my name. I'm like, I'm the one paying the bill. At least put my name on the thing. Come on now, give me some love, Disney. Anyway, so we're gonna duck out of here, but here's the good news. On Friday, we have so many listener questions. We're going to do more listener questions. We're going to scrap it. We're going to go on the fly. We're not going to talk Disney Tech. We're going to do a Disney Tech, but we're going to hold that for one more week. We're going to answer more questions because we've got some great questions in the inbox that need to be hit. So stay tuned. Friday, more questions, all kinds of Disney topics coming your way. So don't forget, today's show always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. The agents are standing by right now to help you plan an amazing Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line Adventures by Disney trip. You want to join us on the podcast cruise? Let's get a quote going. It's July 3rd to the 7th, 2023. This time next year. Actually, it's only 11 months away at this point. Yeah, finally. Less than a year away. We're sailing the Disney Wish. We're going to have a 4th of July extravaganza on the ship, and it's going to be a blast. We're going to Castaway Cay. We're going to have a sea day. We're going to have a podcast recording on the ship. We're going to have a special event on the island. Just for folks that book with us at the Magic for Less is going to be great. Just swing by the website. Just go to themagicforless.com. Fill out the quote form. Just, select the Disney Wish sailing for July 3rd and mention the podcast cruise. I'll get that right out to you. We'll get you some numbers and availability, and we can go from there. We'd love to have you, though, because this one, I'm telling you what, we've got more people sailing with us this time. And this time, a lot of new families, a lot of new faces. So that is super exciting. I'm super excited for that. Of course, we got our old friends going with us, too, but so many new friends to meet and a lot of kids going on this one, too. And the kids are going to make friends. It's just, I love seeing that. So it's going to be awesome. But anytime you have travel needs, just please swing by themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. It really supports everything we do. So please click through that link. And a huge thank you to our patrons, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. You guys make this all happen, and you get that bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. So swing by today, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give Ricky a follow on the social. I think that she's out of her reality TV blockout now, so you can check her out. She's at Ricky Nibs, Instagram and Twitter. Scott's at Epscott, EPSCOT, 1T. And I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. So give us all three a follow. We'd love to talk to you this week. And don't forget, this Sunday night, join us for the live call-in show. You, me, and Scotty G will be taking your calls, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central on YouTube and Facebook. All right, we're going to jump out of here, and we'll be back again on Friday. More listener questions coming your way. So be there or be square. So for Ricky and Scott, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Time to get back to work. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
Was that dog like picking up Mike? That dog was going crazy over here.
I only heard him like once, and it was real quiet. So
okay,
he didn't come through on the recording.
Good.
My mic cancels out a lot of stuff.
Nice.
2030.
Yeah, I thought about that today, that the cruise is like 11 months because I weighed in, start of the month. And I was like, so I set a new goal for like the weight I want to be at for the cruise. And I just took it, like divided it by 11. So that's why I knew it was 11 months. So I'm going to chip away at it. So you're going to see some progression over the next 11 months.
That's
I'm
good.
already progressing some, but yeah.
You are. And I'm trying to think. So, yeah, so when that show comes out, it'll be exactly 11 months.
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
it will be.
Today's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting there. Yes.
Dang.
Because I just
We're about to record an episode for August 5th. Like, how's August already on the 5th?
Dang, dude, that is crazy. August 5th. That is nuts. And that's next week. Yeah, a week from today is August 8th.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That's crazy. Like August 8th that sounds even terrible. That sounds way terrible.
Yeah, so you're going to come down to Walt Disney World in early to mid-August?
I'm trying to wait until everybody goes back to school and be like, hey, I'm just here by myself anyway. But I'm waiting.
I'll add you to that hoop-de-doo reservation.
Oh my God, I love their chicken and their strawberry shortcake. I've gone there a couple times, man. I love that show.
I've never been. I'm excited.
I've never been either.
So honestly, I've been saving for Moose, like because I always wanted to go with Moose because like Moose loves hoop-de-doo. But like
It is good. It is good.
But like I need something new to do on this next trip. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
actually I should invite Moose. Maybe Moose will just like come down.
He might just show up. Yeah. You never know.
Awesome people just flying from all over the place. This guy G. Okay, so this one is 30.
So you want to do listener questions now?
Yeah, we'll just do listener questions. That'll be easier because that other one was like hurting my head. And I have a bunch that came in this week in the inbox.
Okay.
So
we can think about the tech one because I think
It'll be
back
good.
to school will be close. Not everyone's going back to school.
Because teachers are going back, but only in the Midwest.
Well, hey, they started school today in a lot of places here in Atlanta.
It's crazy. That's nuts. Poor kids.
Yeah.
Poor teachers. Poor teachers. Okay, here we go. Let's get this done so we can eat. Here we go. Welcome to episode 2132 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com. And I'm still one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel, just in case you're keeping score. Happy Friday to you. Hope you're having a great wrap to the week. Friday's kind of that fun day, right? I remember back when I was a teacher and I used to have to work in my classroom. And again, first of all, I apologize to all teachers for saying the word classroom because I know some teachers, this is probably the very bitter end of summer and you do not even want to hear that word. And here's the thing, totally going off on a tangent here. Back to school commercials. They are the heartbreak of all teachers this time of year. But the good news is they've been going on for like 2 months. So you're kind of immune to them by this point. But back to my point, I hope that you had a great summer, teachers. And when I was working as a classroom teacher, Fridays, it's one of those days where what percentage do you think you give of 100% effort on a Friday? Maybe at 75, 80. I mean, I know you're supposed to give 100%, but Fridays, you're kind of there. But you're also kind of just trying to figure out what you can do on the weekend. And so, it's okay if you have us in your ear while you're working, whatever you're doing. It's Friday. You know what? Your boss gets it. Your boss is doing the same thing. They're probably out on the golf course already. So whatever. Let's have fun. Anyway, we're going to have some fun Disney talk. And joining us 2 shows in a row because I think she's away from her non-disclosure for her reality TV stardom. We have Ricky from the mouseforless.com. What's up, Ricky? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It is good to be here, and yeah, it's nice to be away from my NDA. So we're back now.
I know, those things you gotta be careful because
Yeah.
you don't want to spoil anything. So
No, can't talk about it.
Exactly, can't tell you who wins and who loses and
Sure can't.
who gets voted out. I mean, it's
Right.
shocking, but I
Shocking.
right
No,
now.
can't talk about it. No.
So, any big plans for the weekend?
Not really. No, just kind of chilling, relaxing. So that's pretty much what it's gonna be.
Wasn't that a song?
Shooting some b-ball outside
I
the
know,
school
I was
with a
about
couple
to-
of guys.
I was about to go there. Yeah.
So you're hanging in Philadelphia, I see, huh? This weekend.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
That's all I was gonna say. And yes, the man with the lyrics himself from the old 80s/90s sitcoms. We have your friend of mine, hashtag Scotty G. Happy Friday, Scott.
Happy Friday, Mike. Ricky, I don't think you know this, but a couple Fridays ago, I tried to imitate how you always say Happy Friday to kick off the show, and it was terrible. So
It did not go well. Okay.
so-
All right.
You're irreplaceable. I cannot do it. But yeah, happy Friday. Excited to be here answering some more listener questions. Hope to play some golf this weekend. And I don't know, Mike, should we just jump into the questions?
Let's do it. Nicole's got a question, and she says, "Hello, Mike and BOGP team. How long do you think Disney will keep the virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind? I've never written into your show before, but I've been listening since my first trip in 2017. I used to live in your part of the country, Decatur, Illinois, but my family moved to Daytona Beach about a year ago. We have annual passes now, but probably won't be able to renew them in the fall. We rode Guardians for the first time this week, and we were literally blown away. Have to make sure we get back over there for a couple more times before they transition to a standby line. Thanks for all the Disney info and entertainment over the years, Nicole." Well, Nicole, hey, thanks for listening to the show for so long. We sure appreciate that. And fun little Mike in the Midwest fact, when I was a kid, I speed skated in Decatur, Illinois at a little roller rink on a early Sunday morning because they always had our skating competitions from 6 a.m. until noon because they wanted to have them before they wouldn't have to miss any public skating sessions. So we'd drive up in the middle of the night to speed skate all over Illinois, Decatur, Quincy, I'm trying to think, Savoy. So if you live in Illinois, you know all these small towns, like Springfield, all these places. Anyway, back to her question. Again, it turned into something about me. I got to stop doing that. Something's wrong with me today. Okay, so we're procrastinating. No, we're not procrastinating. We're prognosticating. We're guessing is what we're doing. And I haven't even had anything. I've just had Coke Zero today.
There you
go. How long do you think the virtual queue holds off on Cosmic Rewind?
That's a good question. It didn't last for very long with Ratatouille. And I know that it's working really well at Guardians. So in the sense of it's definitely moving people through, and I've seen that it's been available later and later in the evening. So I guess it will really just depend on if Disney thinks that they can handle, having a standby queue or not with it. So it's really up to Disney's discretion on when they decide to pull the queue. They did it real fast with Remy. They didn't do it so fast with Rise. So it's really a gamble. Not really sure when it's going to be pulled. So
it's interesting though, because I don't hear a lot of guest dissatisfaction with it right now. And actually I'm hearing a lot of people that are posting on social media that they're so excited because they're getting 2 rides in a day, because they're buying the individual lightning lane and they're taking advantage of the virtual queue. And I think they're totally happy with that. I mean, maybe you could do 3 or 4 standby lines, rides the other way, but I don't think there's a lot of guest dissatisfaction with the current system.
This is one situation where the virtual queue kind of works in a way because it's not all gone completely and you're out of luck, which was the problem with the other attractions. So I'm not a fan of virtual queues. This one isn't the worst, so I wouldn't be sad to see it stick around for a while. But then again, I'm more of a standby queue kind of girl, so I would not be mad if they got rid of it either. So
here's my guess before I throw it to Scott. When Tron opens, this goes away. What do you think about that, Scott? I was going to throw it right between you guys, but what do you think?
You're basically taking my answer because you and I always get on Sunday nights. We've been getting a lot of the when's Tron going to open question, and you always say November, I always say December. Yeah. And my answer was going to be, it's going to be December when Tron opens. So it's going to be my answer.
That's the only thing I would have to, because what other landmark do you have, right? Then you have maybe Labor Day or
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they might want to even go past like the holiday season, maybe, right? I don't know. Like Ricky said, it's really hard to judge because I was just going to make the same comment, Ricky. Like Ratatouille was super quick.
It was so quick
with the virtual queue. So I think Mike, you're right on. I was going to say when Tron opens, but jokingly say December because that's why I keep predicting. But
we shall see. All right. Let's see here. Michelle says, "Hey Mike, cracking up listening to the show today, and I'm a little mad I wasn't listening live." So I think this was our call-in show that we did a couple of weeks ago on Sunday night. She says, "So funny story." And by the way, the title of the email was Animal Attacks at Walt Disney World. So, Ricky, you might have missed the show, but I was attacked by a mockingbird when I went up to take Riley to get my breakfast burrito at the place in our subdivision.
Uh-oh.
I have cuts all over my knees still. And
oh my gosh.
I went back last Friday and the mockingbird was still waiting for me. So I didn't get my breakfast burrito.
Just mocking you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, there we go. There we go. Yes.
This mockingbird pecked Riley 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
And I had to dive onto the asphalt, scraped up my knee, banged it up like it was bruised and swollen. And I looked like I was being arrested on blacktop because this thing kept swooping at my head. It was the meanest bird. Anyway,
crazy.
Go back and listen to the show. It's
okay,
a couple weeks ago.
All right.
Okay, so anyway, so she says, "So funny story. I was attacked by a crane when I was 16 at Disney." Now I think she's talking about the bird,
yes,
not the lights at Christmas. Yeah. My mom and I spent my sweet 16 taking classes for a week at the Disney Institute. This is old. No, just kidding. So yeah, 1998, back in the day, when you could take classes. See, I'm jealous because I'm a nerd. I would have loved to have done that. I would have loved it. Oh my gosh. Anyway, she goes, so we took a photography class. Oh, see, again. You went to Discovery Island to take photos of animals over there. It's perfect.
That's cool.
Well, here I am down on the beach there taking photos with all this expensive equipment, and this crane decides that I look like the perfect place to go to the bathroom. Well, let's just say this giant bird gave me enough luck to last a lifetime.
No.
She says, meanwhile, my mom is cracking up, taking pictures.
No.
She says, I'm running, screaming. The cast member grabbed my equipment. Of course, the cast member goes through the equipment, right? Because it was expensive.
Yeah, of course.
Then ran to the store and grabbed me a shirt to change into. Disney being Disney had the shirt I was wearing dry cleaned for me. Wow. It was definitely a memorable birthday. Unrelated bird attacks. Husband, she says, also a Mike, and I are heading to Disneyland at the end of August for my 40th. Can't wait. It'll be his first Disneyland trip. He's been listening to every episode related to your trip, so he knows all the things to eat. I'm pretty sure he stalked your trip.
Nice.
Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, Michelle. Okay. Great story. Anybody else that has animal stories like this from Walt Disney World, please email them just for my pleasure, because I love hearing these, and I hope you're enjoying these too. Scott, give the bird Disneyland story bad news because they're going to Disneyland and this could happen again.
So I kept thinking about that when you were telling the story. So if anyone, I'm sure Mike, her husband, saw this, like that followed us on social media. Mallory bought this sweatshirt, this like cream, like Walt Disney World sweatshirt. And one night, Mike,
Disneyland, because we were at Disneyland.
Yeah, at Disneyland. And we're walking to the park, and Mike's like, "Hey, Mallory, just to let you know, I'm buying that shirt tonight because I want it too." Yep. So Mike goes in and buys the matching sweatshirt with Mallory, and it's getting kind of chilly that night. And Pam's like, "Well, I kind of want one too." I mean, I think her plan was to get one all, like your family was all going to get the same one. And then my family jumped in like, "Well, we're all going to get the same one too. And we can like all wear our sweatshirts tonight and get photos," which we kind of did. So we're waiting for the Main Street Electrical Parade. We just got our photos taken, and we're just standing there. Then all of a sudden, my wife Elizabeth is like, like going all crazy. We're like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Well, a bird just pooped all over my new sweatshirt. It was all over it."
So just a little more detail of the story. This was the night we had the Main Street Electrical Parade like dining package. Okay, so we're up in this, VIP seating up by the train station, kind of up in the town square. So we right before that, we looked up, we're like, there's a lot of birds flying.
That's right. I forgot about that detail.
I mean, there were a ton of birds, and then also
So the good news is, I feel like one in every, I don't know, what'd you say, like 3 or 4 guests were wearing that sweatshirt that night. So no supply chain issue, Mike, with these sweatshirts. So Elizabeth was able to go back and get it exchanged for another one. So it ended up working out just fine. But like, how embarrassing was that? Like, of all people that it had to happen to our Fast Pass queen, like the person that like got us through every single day. And of course, it was her that got pooped on by a bird.
Yeah.
So be careful if you're doing the wild. I think that's what Mike was trying to get at. You're doing the 40th trip to Disneyland. It sounds so awesome, but be warned that the birds can poop on you there as well.
They're not cranes, but they are definitely loaded. So
they are loaded.
Just be careful. Don't look up and be like, "Oh my gosh, look at all the birds."
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Worst thing you can do is look up, right?
Yeah.
You just don't want that. Okay, so by the way, people probably have breakfast, so we're gonna move on to the next question. But thanks, Michelle. I love stuff like that because I'm a 12-year-old. So thank you. All right, Dustin, and actually his last name's Gardner, so he might be a brother from another mother for you,
there
Scott.
We go.
He says, Mike, we're going on our first Disney cruise as a family. We're booked on the Maritime cruise on the Dream out of Miami in the beginning of December. I'm having trouble figuring out travel to and from the port. Traveling together will be me, my wife, and 3 kids. They're 3, 6, and 8. The Disney associated hotels don't allow 5 to stay together in a room, so I can't book through Disney. I know I wanted to know if you have any suggestions on where to stay the night before and what private transfer company you would recommend to go to the port and then back to the airport. A lot of people say the easiest is Uber or Lyft, but my kids are little and I still need car seats and boosters for them, which isn't easy to do through those services. I want to book a private transfer, but I'm having trouble deciding which company seems to be the best. Any advice would help, Dustin. Now, here's the thing. I have a lot of good advice for Port Canaveral. Those companies that work out of Port Canaveral. Out of Miami, I would just say you kind of need to just go on, and look at reviews. Now, I will say, though, Uber and Lyft, especially around these cruise ports, will have options to select car seats and boosters. So you can probably get that. What I'm saying is don't discount using Uber and Lyft to get, especially if your hotel is close to the port, which there's a lot of hotels right around. I've sailed out of Miami. So I'm just saying that's probably going to be your least expensive option and your most plentiful option. And especially in the Lyft app, you can select car seats and boosters. So look at that. You can get like an Uber XL, or if you're with Uber, Lyft has kind of a similar thing, like a larger car, like a more luxurious car. You probably have to wait a little bit longer, but that's not a big deal. But I would look at that. So Scott, do you have any suggestions for like transfers out of
Yeah, because I don't have experience with Miami, unfortunately, but I was going to say the same thing as you. Like, well, my initial thought was like, well, you can rent a car, but that doesn't help your booster seat situation. So that's why I like the idea of the Lyft, because you're absolutely right, Mike. I've seen it when I use those services that there is that booster seat. So get the biggest car, so you can have your luggage as well as all the comfortable seating with the booster seats. That's the route I would go.
And I mean, if you want to get a private transfer company, just obviously, I mean, this is what I think the world has turned into. Just go to Miami Airport, private transfers, or Miami Cruise Terminal, private transfers, and just read the reviews. If a company is not reliable, you will find that within 5 minutes of kind of researching what people say. When people are unhappy, they will put that up there on you'll be able to easily kind of find that. You'll find you'll be able to see the star ratings and stuff like that.
But as someone who works in the industry of ratings, do keep in mind that most people put up negative ratings, not positive ratings. So really read and see if there's like a common thread that is something like you can't put up with. If that's the case, then I wouldn't go with them. If it's just people complaining for, one reason or another, because they're just unhappy in general, then, as long as the company has a decent rating, you can still go with them. So I deal with ratings every single day of my life. So
that's not good. I'm giving you that the eyes, that you would do in a text.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah.
So what they're called, but type the word look on my iPhone.
Yeah.
It sends you something, it gives me the eyes or like the sideways eye. Okay. All right. Okay.
That's how Elizabeth was looking at that bird.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how that bird was looking at Elizabeth.
Yeah,
Here we go, baby. Anyway, Sarah's got a question. Hey, Mike, I started listening to your podcast to get my Disney World fix, and I love the show. Thanks, Sarah. My questions are, number 1, where would you recommend staying for your kids' first trip to Walt Disney World? Now, they're 5-year-old twin girls.
Oh.
We're looking to go all out and stay at the Contemporary, but there's so many other amazing hotels. The Poly, the Riviera, which, by the way, Sarah, around here we call it the Riv, Port Orleans, French Quarter, Art of Animation, etc. We stayed at Caribbean Beach in November and loved it because of the access to the Skyliner, but we really want to stay at a more themed resort for the kids. We're planning to stay 7 days, 6 nights, but only go to the parks for 4 days. Okay, so here's the key. She says they're looking for something themed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the contemporary is the right answer there for
That
theme.
was what I was thinking. If she said
Contemporary
theme,
is location. Like that is
Yeah.
location. I mean, it's a great hotel. You got the monorail. It's amenities and location. Can't beat it. But theme, Ricky, where would you go for 5-year-old twin girls?
did she say the poly? Was that
She
one of
did
the?
say the foul.
I
But
would-
remember, here's the thing. Do 5-year-olds understand like
Well,
like that is the
That's true.
pollination necessary for 5-year-old girls?
that's true. You know what?
My daughter at 15 wants to drain me just dry when she wants to
Valid.
stay at the Riviera in like the 3-bedroom. Like when they're older, they're going to try to just drain you dry.
Facts.
Should you not take advantage of when they're 5 and go
That's
like
true.
in a royal guest room? Or something?
You know what? That's exactly where I was going to go next. So I was going to say go to Riverside and stay in a royal guest room because that's exceptionally themed. It's princess overload, and I think that would be a great choice too. So I was with you when you said they wanted really themed, and then they said the contemporary. I was like, I don't think that's the best choice. So yeah, I either would stay at the Polynesian, or if you want to, go a little cheaper, I would stay at Riverside and do a royal room.
I mean, they're going all out though, Scott. I mean, so maybe this is something that's not a big deal. Vero Mike's saying Polynesian is very themed.
I'm 100% the Polynesian. It is like magically themed.
It is very much so.
The pool area is so awesome. Like just being in the Great Ceremonial House. And gotta remember, I know the 5-year-old twin girls, we want to give them a good thing, but it's about the parents too. And I want to be at the Polynesian and hanging out in that theme. It's a family vacation. I know you want to focus it on the girls, but like if you're paying for it and you're going all out, I think the best win for everyone's vacation will be the Polynesian. Hands
I like
down.
Scott's way of thinking.
Okay, I get it. That is the actual perfect answer. But I'm looking at it pragmatically. Like when they're 5, like this is your chance, like to stay in a value because they don't know. Like they think all-star sports is the coolest thing ever. Like when they're 15, I'm telling you what, man, they want to bleed you dry.
So it's like getting the veranda on your first trip. It's kind of like what you're saying here.
Yeah, you've screwed up already. Yeah,
but like you can see the castle from your resort. You got. I'm sure they're going to be going to Magic Kingdom a ton on this trip. So you got the boat transportation. You can do the monorail. You can take the monorail over to Epcot. Even like I think it's got to be the Polynesian. I know like it's setting up for failures down the road, Mike. I know that's how you're thinking. Big picture.
Dude, you got 5-year-old twin girls. You're paying for 2 weddings down the line. You're paying for 2 college.
Will you be paying for a wedding? Is that the Polynesian? Remember when you took us to when we were 5?
Sarah's not listening to our show
story.
ever again. She's like, I can't take the stress from this podcast anymore. I don't need this in my life. I was just asking for a hotel recommendation.
Ricky gave a good option, though. I mean, Riverside is a really good option, too.
I think so.
And then she said, as a second question, do you think Disney will bring back Magical Express since the train fell through, which we're talking about the
train crashed.
Bright Line,
Yes.
which I think it's still going to happen. I just don't think it's going to be on Disney property. Stop there. That was such a huge benefit they took away, and I feel like they need to bring something back to make it easier on guests staying on property. Look forward to listening to the next episode soon. Thanks, Sarah. I 100% agree with Sarah. Magical Express being gone is a crime. Like that was such a huge benefit to guests.
I agree with you. I just, again, when you look at the cost analysis of things, and I live with an accountant, and when you look at things like that, it's just monetarily, it doesn't make sense a lot of times. So, I mean, I would love for them to get it to come back, and I know that they're taking a lot of flack for not having it, and but I don't know. I don't know that it's going to come back. And if it does, it's going to be a number of years before it comes back. It's not going to just be like, boom, okay, it's back. Like it's going to be, they're going to have to do the cost analysis of it for a few years to see, okay, are people really this unhappy about it not being here? Or has the unhappiness kind of waned a little bit now that it's been a few years and they're getting used to having to get other forms of transportation? And, it'll just depend. Because, like I said, Disneyland, they don't have that. So
they don't. But also, like I had to rent a car, and it was I paid $35 a night for my car to sit.
I get that.
But Disneyland is so different because, like, Walt Disney World is like this huge property, right?
Yeah.
Where they don't want you to leave it. Like Anaheim is kind of different because you're like in the middle of the big city of Anaheim. Like that's why I'm so surprised they got rid of it, because if you take a bus there, you don't have any other car. I know there's like like ride shares, that are pretty easy, right? So you can take an Uber to the grocery store or to a different restaurant. But I feel like, man, you took that Magical Express bus, you were never going to Universal.
I mean,
you were staying there. So
you're not wrong.
I was just so stunned that they got rid of it, to be honest.
I agree with you. You're not wrong, but somewhere some accountant did cost
someone did some numbers, right? Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
But I'm kind of in the middle, like, man, I want it to come back. I can see Ricky's point, like, oh, well, with the cost, it might not bring it back. I'm going to put my optimistic hat on here, my Mr. Positivity, and that it will come back because they're just going to learn that they're missing out on some benefits with people staying on site.
Because, I mean, Universal just this last week posted record profits. Universal Resort, record numbers going through their gates for their theme parks, which is, I mean, the thing is, when one of the two brings in record numbers, that's going to benefit both. I mean, you got to think about it because that's a Central Florida economy, right? You're bringing people in. They're probably going to go I doubt that they're drawing everybody from Walt Disney World to Universal, but it
might
is
be losing days there. I mean,
it could be exactly that. That is something for them to think about. And the thing about Magical Express too is you got to think about it this way too. We're not going to make this whole Magical Express show, but we could, and maybe we'll do that someday. But the thing is too, is that, they have a certain cost per guest, like that Magical Express costs them what it is. It's not going to be the cost you're paying through Mears Connect right now, because it's like a volume discount, they're working through with Mears. It's a contract they work out years in advance. But the thing too is, so when they put out the 2023 packages, everything goes up, right? So the hotel room per night goes up, the tickets go up. And so, they could just build that in, when the prices go up for 24 and the hotel rooms go up by say 7% or 5% per night, or the tickets go up by 4% or 7%, it goes up it goes up 7.5%, or it goes up, 6.5%, and Magical Express is back. Scott and I have had this conversation many times. We had this about Disneyland, is that when you roll something into a package, it doesn't hit you as hard. Like,
you're right.
We had Genie Plus, and we had such a positive experience with it on our trip, because we bought it pre-trip. It was just something we paid for months before we went, and we loved it because we didn't buy it every single day for 3 people, forking out $45 each morning. We didn't have to think about it. So we had a great experience. If they built it in, that way, because that's how it used to be, they had it built in. It's not like they're paying extra. It's just they roll it into the overall cost.
Right.
It was eating maybe into the profit slightly, but you just bump it up. The prices are going up. Like, where, again, it's that value versus what you're paying proposition. And that came more to Disney's favor than the guest's favor over the past 2 years, I think. I mean, we can all agree with that.
Yeah.
What you think?
Yeah, I just wish my favorite thing about this, I know, Mike, you've had a bunch of people on the show say this on their trip reports back in the day, but like the airline check-in resort, like the airline check-in was the best.
It really was.
Where I could just pack up for the morning or the night before, drop my bags off. I didn't have to worry about the bags, the rest of that day. Amazing. And that was the best service. And then I know you don't want to go down this, but I'm still like big on, like, they want you to stay on the property. Like, Universal's building the 3rd gate right now, or 4th gate if you count Volcano Bay.
Yeah.
And like, they're gonna just want people to stay more and more at Walt Disney World as much as they can, not to go over there, like, and lose more days. So like, why not bring people over on a bus and bring their luggage? Like, it just makes. I know everyone listening here knows it makes sense, but I don't understand the cost behind it. Why they had to get rid of it or not bring it back.
So far removed from it at this point. Like, the idea of the fact, like, I mean, it hasn't been that long, right? It has really, it hasn't been that long. But the idea that I could seriously, like, go down, because you're going next month, Scott. Like, you're going this month. You're going in just a few weeks, a couple weeks. Like, the idea that you could drop your luggage off at your home airport in Detroit or Lansing or wherever you're flying out of, and like, think about this, like, your luggage shows up like in your room at Old Key West. And then, like you said, you do airline check-in at Old Key West on your last day, and you don't have to see your luggage until you're back in Lansing. Like, the idea of that seems like nonsensical because it is so awesome. And that was something we had for, over a decade. And we took it for granted. It was so cool.
I know. We wanted to talk about technology over the last 10 years, but like, think about like the services we lost over the 10 years. And that would get an A+ for me, Mike.
Right.
The Magical Express and the luggage handling was just, that's actually what got me to book that first trip. Because like, I've never been on a plane before. and we're like looking at like places. Emily was 3, like, hey, where we can go on a family vacation? Like obviously Walt Disney World. And I started asking Elizabeth questions about like, well, how do we get from the airport to there? Do we have to rent a car? And she's like, oh no, they have the service that they just do it for you. I'm like, well, that's unbelievable. Let's just go there.
Do that. Yeah.
Man, that's just, I don't know why. I don't want to get all upset about it. But.
No, me neither. But I mean, it is something that, I mean, it hasn't been that long, but like the idea, if they brought that back and said, like the fact that, I mean, I would go nuts if I could just go back to where I could check my bag at Lambert Airport. And then if Pop Century that afternoon, that evening, boom, my bags are
and just to have the option. I mean, like our family has changed a little bit, like where we like renting the car, right? We used to not do that for years, but just to have that option available is so valuable. But to the question, I think I'm hopeful that it is going to come back. I think they're going to realize that maybe people are leaving property a little bit too much or whatever. And I like Mike's idea, just it could be like hidden costs that you don't even know is built into your resort stay that you're paying for. Because someone made a comment like, they're not going to bring back something free. Like it won't be free. They'll find a way to like have some hidden fee on it. But it'd be awesome to see it come back for sure.
All right. Lori's got a question. She says, so they're going to the Halloween party. Lori had a question on Wednesday, but they're going, it's the Sanderson sisters, which I believe that's Hocus Pocus.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So does she have anybody have any other trio costume ideas that they could do besides the Sanderson sisters? So we could brew on that one. I just want to throw it out.
I have one.
What's
that? But I mean, but it's not girls. So, I mean, I was thinking the 3 cats from the Aristocats, but I mean, they're not all 3 girls, but you could still go as the 3 cats.
The 3 Caballeros is another fun one.
3 Caballeros, yeah, exactly. That's a good one.
Yeah,
but you can almost make anything like you could take like the Toy Story, like how you, me, and Paige, Mike, that one time. Like
yes.
I mean, not that I don't think any of the girls want to dress up as Buzz Lightyear or Woody necessarily, but you can find like something fun like out of like a franchise. Or the 101 Dalmatians. I always think that's a fun one. Or Wilderness Explorers is always kind of fun too.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah. So
I like what they're going with the Sanderson. That's a good trio right there. I like it.
Yeah.
All righty, Sarah. Another Sarah here has another question. Hey, Mike, Pam, Ricky, and Scott. This is Sarah without an H. I have a Disney dining question for you. I have a trip to Disney World planned in September. Thanks, Mike, for your help with booking it. Well, thank you, Sarah. It's for myself, my husband, and 2 boys. They're 4 and 1. Because we're doing a split stay, we couldn't make all of our dining at once, and my 2 dining windows opened up last week. My husband and I consider ourselves foodies and took this very seriously. We tried to balance what we wanted to try with what our boys would like and would be able to handle. That's good. That's a good spot.
Good
toddlers, but you're also kind of foodies, so you gotta be like, okay,
what can we
Nancy
do?
is probably not going to work here, but let's see what we can make happen. I get it. We are able to get 2 reservations we wanted the most. Space 220.
Nice.
Topolino's breakfast.
Ooh, good choices.
Dude, this is like the Ricky dining.
Yeah, this is me. Yeah.
But here's the problem, she says. We were extremely limited in what was available and currently have them both booked for our very last day with Topolino's breakfast at 10:15 and Space 220 at 12:30.
Oh.
Okay.
Not much of a window there.
No.
Scott says, no problem.
Yeah,
sounds like they're on a cruise.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted. Okay.
Exactly.
No, we are obviously going to try to keep looking for other times to open up. But if they don't, what should we do? Keep Topolino's, keep Space 220, or do a food doubleheader?
Oh, God. You'll be so in pain. Don't do that. Don't do that.
She says, only partially joking.
Oh, no.
For further information, my 4-year-old loves all things space. We have 2 other character meals booked for other days in our trip. We're doing Chef Mickey's breakfast, Tusker House breakfast, and Garden Grill lunch. Their favorite meal is breakfast. We also have a trip coming up in December, so we can try out another one at that time. Thanks so much. Sarah's in Indianapolis. I think she's the one that gave us the scoop on the new restaurant that's going into my poor old ESPN. Yeah. So I don't know, man. No, don't do the doubleheader. No. I know you want to, because that would be, I mean, but if you do, please give us the story. Because
and tell us how full you were. Yeah.
I think you do Space 220 for the kid.
I think I'm leaning toward the Space 220. Yeah. Especially because they have so many other character meals. I think Space 220 is where it's at. And that's much harder reservation to get. Not that Topolino's is not hard to get, because trust me, it is ridiculously hard to get. But I think Space 220 is harder, and I think that's the one you'll enjoy just a little bit more.
Okay, Scott, what do you Space 220 or
I don't have much more to add. Both of you hit the 2 comments I wrote was like space. The kid likes space, so the guy stick with 420.
I
and
like
then
the notes.
I wrote down lots of breakfast options already. So
Yeah.
that's the no-brainer to me if you had to cut one. But I mean, I don't know how well. I mean, it's a 1-year-old can be tough, but like I would love Topolino's for dinner if you can grab that one too. If you wanted to just check out the Riviera. Because that is one of my favorite spots to be for dinner. I understand the breakfast is more like kid friendly, with the 4-year-old and the 1-year-old. But yeah, I'm all on Space 220 for those 2 options for sure.
All right, we have Corbin of Amber is jamming here in the chat with the trios here. He says Huey, Dewey, and Louie for costumes, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather.
Nice.
Fairy Godmothers, and April, May, and June.
Those are Daisy's nieces for those who are not following along in the chat. Yeah.
I was like, wait, you dress up like a month? I don't even know
if
that's all that. I don't watch too much. Okay. See, Melissa's got a question. She is writing from Brisbane, Australia.
Nice.
Of course. That is so awesome. Man, podcasting is the best. Hey, Mike, I'm writing to you from Australia and just wanted to thank you and everyone for what you do with the show. No matter what kind of day I've had at work, I can switch on a podcast driving home, and 5 minutes later, I'm in the Disney bubble and the rest of the world just disappears.
That's awesome.
How cool is that down in Australia? I love that. Thank you.
Awesome.
This made my entire week. I mean, again, I'm sending this to my dad because he's the radio guy. And I'm like, yeah, our show, Australia.
She's talking about driving back and forth from Outback Steakhouse, not actually.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding.
Shrimp on the Barbie. Yes. Okay. That's what all Americans think. Yes, that's true. She says, I've been booking through the Magic for Less for years now, but only found your show 6 months ago.
Wow.
There you go. When I heard these words, it made me smile, and I haven't stopped listening ever since. Deb Chambers used to be my agent, and you made me think of her. She helped book our first family trip back in 2011 and then again in 2015. She was helping me plan and book a trip in 2020 for my husband's 50th when I last spoke to her, a trip we never got to take due to COVID. I was so sad to hear of her passing, even though we never got a chance to meet in person. All of our chats and her help over the years. I followed her on all her trips on Facebook. She was such a lovely, fun person. I can only imagine how it would have been for you and the Magic for Less family. Yeah, so just a little background. We had basically like our senior agent at the Magic for Less. She was the one that everybody else at the agency learned from. Deb was just the ultimate travel agent. Like she had the biggest client load. Like she had the most clients. She had done this. She had been on like not just Disney cruise ships. She had been on like every cruise ship. She'd been everywhere in the world. But the thing was, she had time for everybody. So when I was kind of learning the ropes, she'd call me and be like, Mike, you did this wrong. And she actually had roots in Missouri, where I'm from, southern part of the state. And so she'd be like, Mike, we're from Missouri. You got to do this right. This is show me state. I loved Deb because she always had time for me, even though we had so many agents. She'd still always like care about that I would become a better agent. And Deb was just, this means a lot to me. She was wonderful. We miss her every day.
Yes.
So I appreciate this email. Continuing on, she says, we have finally rebooked for April of 2023. We're doing a 4-night in a family room at All Stars, then a 3-night cruise on the Disney Wish. And then we're going to finish with 4 nights at Caribbean Beach. It'd be very depressing to go from the cruise to the airport. So we decided to split trips so I could go back to Disney after the cruise. That is 100% the right answer.
Yes.
All there, all the way down to Australia. Yes. You cannot. I know some people have to, but it is the worst. When you get off the ship, I say the worst to me, just aside. Now, you guys probably agree. When you wake up that morning on the last day of the ship, and if you have a veranda or even a window, and you look out your window and it's the exact same spot where you were so excited like 4 days before, you're like, yeah.
It's unbelievable like how the levels of excitement have changed from like those 4 or 5 days or whatever. Because yeah, you're right, man. You're like looking out that window and you're like, bye everybody. I'm about to have fun for 4 days. And then like the next thing you know, like, oh, there's gonna be someone else in this room in about 4 hours.
Exactly. There's going to be somebody else's excitement, but not mine. Yeah. So you're going back to Caribbean Beach. You're going to have some fun. She says, I hear you answer questions regularly on the show, so I thought I'd ask something that I've been wondering about. Is there somewhere within the Disney World resorts where we could store our luggage in between the 2 stays while we're on the cruise? We have a lot of luggage with us, and our trip is 3 weeks in total, but it'd be really nice if we only had to take our carry-on bags for the cruise. Well, thank you again. You, Pam, and Scotty, and Ricky always make me laugh and constantly stay in planning mode for our upcoming trip. Thanks, Mel, down in Brisbane. I love it.
Nice.
Thank
That's
you.
Great
awesome.
email.
Okay, great email. Unfortunately, I don't know what you can do with it. Like, I did do this once though, and I was scared to death the entire cruise, but I did do this on one of the podcast cruises. But this is not going to be an option for you. Back in the day, before I was scared to fly, or when I was scared to fly, I drove. And this was when Mallory was little. We would pull a trailer behind our SUV. So I left the trailer in the corner of Pop Century's parking lot.
Oh,
Because I knew we were coming back. We were doing a split. Now, the whole time I was gone, I was scared this trailer was going to get towed to who knows where. I didn't know where it was going to end up. But I didn't want to pay double parking at the port because that parking at the port is expensive.
yeah.
Oh my God. It was worth like losing all your stuff
Dude,
though.
I know. It was scary. I rolled the dice, man. It was like press your luck. No whammies, baby.
Right.
But I did do that. But so we left some of our stuff there. I was scared to death. I shouldn't have done it because it wasn't worth it because I was like giving ulcers the entire time. But yeah, that's a great idea. It'd be a great service. Like if there was somebody, it's
I know
kind of
because it's going to happen a lot. I mean, it
probably
just happens. It happens to us when we do like a long summer trip, right? Like, I don't want to take 15 suitcases onto a ship if I can just take 2 and leave them out somewhere else. Oh man, like there's probably like some like locker storage too you could use, but then like you got to find a way to get there, and then you got to pay for like I don't know if they do like a short-term rental, for a storage unit. I really don't think there's an answer. I think the answer is no, unfortunately.
I think you're right. I think you're gonna have to take it on the ship with you, unfortunately.
I get it. I mean, because international travelers that come to the other side of the world and you're going to be there for 3 weeks, you got a lot of stuff that you probably don't need for a 4-night cruise.
Yeah. And the poor porter is going to be like, this is a 4-night cruise. Why do you have 20 bags?
Hey, I've been there because we did.
I'm sure it happens.
One time we were there for 2.5 weeks and we had a lot of stuff. And we stayed in that small stateroom on the Dream, that 11C. And I mean, we made it 4 people in an 11C with enough stuff for like 2 weeks.
So this would be nice if Disney Cruise Line could almost hold it somewhere, like that's what I would almost wonder if you could take it with you. And then because they have like a luggage area, obviously like on the ship, because that's where they like store the luggage like the night before. So I almost wonder if they could almost store your luggage and you can just take the 2 bags or 3 bags or whatever that you need. So you have more space in the stateroom. That could be an option. I just don't know if it's available. We might have to do some research.
Yeah. Like Jennifer saying, like the ECV companies should add this as a service because they probably have the space because they have like the warehouse for like all the vehicles that go out all the time. Yeah.
I know that there's like, I remember like Owner's Locker used to be, I know that they're still around, but I don't think that they would do a short-term service like that either.
It'd almost be like the opposite Owner's Locker kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
There's definitely like something.
There's a market. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause you could just pick up their stuff, throw it in honestly, you could do this out of your house. I mean, if you had like a basement that, just had a space, you go get, it's a trust thing, but if you get enough reviews and
you get a reputation and
you buy a trailer and you go pick up people's stuff, throw it in your basement for a week and then deliver it back to them.
So today I was talking, I think I talked in the pre-show, Mike, I was trying to come up with like a hack where like, I don't have to work like in an office job for the rest of my life. This is the hack right here. It's going to be Scotty G's random miscellaneous vacation services brought to you out of Orlando, Florida.
I love
it. This is the new thing. This is our hustle. This is our side hustle. This ain't even a side hustle. This is the hustle.
Because it could be like an Uber thing too. Oh, you need a ride too? Yeah, we got that. You need luggage storage? We got that.
Yeah, and it's like climate controlled storage because it's your it's your house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't do the airline check-in for you because I'm not you, so I can't like use your photo ID. But like I would love to do that, but unfortunately not.
Good stuff. Good question. Well, hey, have a great trip next year. I'm glad that you're getting to take that. I know it's been delayed with COVID. Have a safe trip over and let us know how it goes. Please do follow up and don't be a stranger. We want to hear from you, Mel. So please do keep emailing. All right. Well, hey, that's going to do it for today's show. Time to get on with the weekend. Let's do it. But don't forget, today's podcast brought to you, as always, the Magic for Less Travel. Mel mentioned that. The agents over at the Magic for Less are standing by this weekend to help you plan an amazing Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip. You know the deal by now. Just swing by themagicforless.com. Fill out the quote form. We'll take great care of you from there. Again, themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. That one extra click really does help us out. And a thank you to our patrons who make all of this podcasting possible. 3 to 4 shows a week go out all around the world. It's because of your support. Can't thank you enough for that. And if you'd like to join us, coming over and get the bonus show called Mike in the Midwest, it's over at patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. Give Ricky a follow this weekend on the social media. Who knows what she's doing? She's at Ricky Nibs, and it's fun to follow at RIKKINIBS. Scotty G, he's going to be on the golf course, I guarantee you, this weekend at some point. So follow along. He puts the odds. Sometimes he's favored, sometimes he's not. You never know. I don't know. What's Vegas saying this weekend? Scott, what do you think?
My brother is just shooting out of his mind on the golf course, and I'm not playing so good. So I'm going to say it's 11. It's going to be double digits.
My gosh, that's a big line.
I need to win. I need to help the supporters, like the fan club of Scotty G. So we're going 11 is what Vegas is saying. Calling it now.
There you go.
So follow me on, you'll see the photo at the tee on Sunday morning.
It's always fun at Upscott, EPSCOT, Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. I'd love to talk to you this weekend as well. And don't forget to join me and Scotty G over on not Instagram, but Facebook and YouTube this Sunday night, 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central. It's your show. Give us a call. We talk about anything you like. It's a fun one. So join us this Sunday night. All right, we're going to get out of here and let you get on with your weekend. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We love our podcast community. It's amazing. It's great meeting friends that share this passion for Disney literally all over the planet. It's a really lucky thing, but it only happens because you support the show. You spread the word. You send in the emails, you listen to the show, you make all this possible. So a sincere thank you to you right now for listening to the podcast. You've made my dream come true by getting to do this show, and I've made the friends of my lifetime here. And I just want to say a huge thank you for that. Today's email really kind of brought that home to me. All right, we're going to get out of here. So have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy. For Ricky and Scott, I'm Mike. We'll see you real soon. That was a good one. That was another good one.
Hey.
That was really good.
You caught up on those questions, which I needed to do. So
Good.
All right, we'll go get some vittles.
Yeah,
All right, guys.
Elizabeth just texted me that dinner is ready. So curious what it's going to be.
Good
I
stuff. All right, well,
love
thanks, guys, and I'm glad you're back, Ricky. So
Hopefully I will be. So I'll let you know next week. But
so you're waiting to hear back if you're going to make the reality.
make the cut. Yeah,
Love
exactly.
Boat?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dude, you put your foot in your mouth there. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna cut you loose though. So we're still
All right.
I'll see you
guys
later.
later.
See ya.
All right,
Bye.
bye.